so many artists deal with stage fright. And part of it is I think you learn to step on the stage and see the stage as a place of serving. If you make that stage a place where you're getting your own needs met, you're getting fulfillment met, you're finding your identity from the applause, that's not success. You know, if your goal as an artist is just about making money and being famous, but you don't actually care about your audience, you know, success is very illusory at that point, you know, and I think ultimately success is found when, if you are an artist, if you are a creative, I think the ultimate success is found when you create something that's beautiful and good and based in truth, and it impacts other people. It gives them hope. It brings joy to the room. You share some empathy through that song. You lift people up. You give them, a moment of transcendence in a concert where they walk out going, man, what a night that was. And you're giving them something. It's a gift. But if you're doing that just really focused on your own fame and money as part of that, that's to me is not success. And so I think that's like what you quoted from me earlier. You know, we're made in God's image, and God is he's ultimately the creator and the ultimate creative. So the gifts that we've been given, in the same way he's given those gifts to us to serve us, we're to give those gifts to serve other people. And I think when we have that sort of focus, and I think a great example is, you know, so many artists deal with stage fright. And I've tried to encourage so many with this. You know, you stand before an audience, whether it's 100 people or, 100,000 people. So many artists, even the most successful artists of all time, still deal with stage fright, where they're throwing up before they walk out on stage because they're so nervous. And part of it is I think you learn to step on the stage and see the stage as a place of serving, where you're given that opportunity to stand on stage in front of those people to give them something tangible that night. If you make that stage a place where you're getting your own needs met, you're getting fulfillment met, you're finding your identity from the applause, you know, that's not success. And honestly, the success is when you step out and then you're able to serve. And when you do step into that role of serving and you have the stage as a place of love and serving, there is no fear. The fear vanishes, because then it's not about you and your identity. It's about those people before you that you're singing to, or that you're presenting a film to, or you're presenting whatever sort of, or even a business presentation, when it's about the people you're there presenting to, and that's where your focus is. There is no fear. Fear vanishes, and you can really step into that place as a place of love.
Can you think of artist examples, past, present, that have exemplified the success through service approach well?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, there's a lot of them have elements of that, you know, in certain ways, in certain relationships. Ones that have done it their entire career and really been good at that. You know, everybody has moments of that, but I think it's just an important part of the journey. The ones locally I can think of in Nashville, you know, the examples that I've seen over the years are people like Garth Brooks, Amy Grant, Michael W. Smith. I think a lot of the reason we still know those three artists is because of the relationships that they have with their fans. You know, Amy Grant is the kind of person that would, you know, for decades, you know, she goes and does concerts and she remembers people. She remembers names, people that connect with her. And she is one of the most generous people in so many different ways, publicly and privately. And I think that's one of the reasons she's still out touring in her early 60s, you know, and people still want to see Amy Grant. You know, Garth Brooks would come to Nashville, and back in those early days of the big festival downtown Nashville, and he'd stand out there for 9-10 hours signing autographs with fans that had come to see him. And so, but there's lots of examples. You know, there's lots of examples of people I know more privately and all that too. But I think the people that have the really long careers and who really, I think, leave the greatest impact. You know, there's lots of geniuses that left a big hole in a lot of people's lives. You know, there's lots of examples of those. You know, but you know, and some of them had very short careers, and we still think of them as geniuses. But I think the example of leaving a life where you've really raised up other people, where you've treated people well, where you've brought something not only to your audience, but to all those around you, your team and the people you interact with. And I think that's important. Dolly Parton is one. I don't know Dolly personally, but she's one, has led a very successful life. And people talk about how much she's given to not only her fans, but to others, her commitment to her husband all those years. And so I think some of the greatest songs that continue to resonate were songs that were birthed with that sort of heart, and and there's plenty of gospel songs. We could name a list of 100 like that. But even just recently thinking about Paul McCartney's coming here in about a month. And back when John Lennon was leaving his first wife for Yoko Ono, Paul's driving out to their house to give some encouragement to little Julian Lennon, Julian referred to him as Uncle Paul. And he started writing a song called Hey Jules that became Hey Jude, which it continues to this day. Here's this little song that he wrote initially as just an encouragement to this young boy who was seeing his parents' marriage fall apart. And here's the song that to this day is one of the most loved of all time's Beatles songs. I think it was the highest rating or the longest #1 song of any song they ever had. But there's lots of just great examples where when you start from a posture, like you said, of I have something I want to bring that's going to be of value to someone. And I want to address an issue, say something special. I want to bring hope to someone. And when artists take those creative gifts and are stirred to bring hope or joy or comfort through that song, there's no better way to serve the world. There's no better way to bring healing to people that can last for decades, there's so many songs like that, from the civil rights era to, many gospel hymns that just continue to do that. And why shouldn't every artist, continue to write with that sort of heart? And people love it. Bob Marley's has a lot of those kind of songs that just continue to stir hope in people and just bring healing and hope, just those words and those melodies. And I think that's a really important, not only just in what you're creating, but also in how, because the creative process is not typically a solo process, it involves other relationships. So I think it's not only with what you're creating, but also how do you engage with all those other people that you're working with, including your audience, with that same posture of service.